The Flames are officially on winter break, which means we can break down the first half of the season here on Locked On Flames.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I am your host, Jess Belmosto, and thank you so much for joining me. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. I thought the first day of the Flames winter break would be a great time to discuss the season up until this point, the highs, the lows, recapping the latest news and kind of digging into what has culminated so far this season and just how unexpected it is. And what does it mean? What does it say about this team? Make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your Calgary Flames every day. And I think we have to start with the most unexpected of unexpected things, and that is Jonathan Huberdeau's hot start. He is playing his best hockey that he has played in his Calgary tenure thus far. And I don't think any of us predicted this. I know I said at during my preseason predictions that I did not expect him to really be a point per game player or be someone that's racking up multiple points a night across several games in a close span of time. And had I known that all I needed to do was say that earlier to get this out of him, maybe I would have done it. But no, he has 25 points in 34 games. He has 11 points in 9 games and was only held off the score sheet one time, which to me is crazy considering last December, we were all waiting for him to still find a point, whether it was a goal or an assist. And we are through December, and he has played so well. And a lot of it is, I think the chemistry he's built with Kadri, and I think a lot of it is, similar to Blake Coleman, just settling in to a whole different world compared to Florida. So it's very exciting to see, and none of us had this on our bingo card, but it's been a lot of fun. So right now, the Flames are 16, 11, and 7 with 39 points. Currently in the second wild card spot, which, hey, that's still something, right? And the team save percentage is .932 versus the league average of .918. When it comes to the Flames, I don't think it matters what roster you look at over the last five years. There are so many, I feel like the expectations are typically low. Unless you were the 2022-2023 Flames. The expectations were high because you had just brought in Huberdeau after losing 2 of your star players. But it has not been like that. And the expectations going into this season were, on paper, this is a bottom 5, bottom 7 team. And realistically, they could still look like that if, certain players go cold, if goaltending becomes non-existent, there's a good chance we see the Flames fall off. And that's not good. If you're holding out for this team to be a playoff team, it's great if you're rooting for them to have that draft lottery pick. You can make a case for either side. But at some point, it is what it is. And nothing that I say on this show or what people say on Twitter is going to influence their play on the ice. Had that been the case, I think we would have seen a lot of different things a lot sooner. But I am just very impressed with how this team has started the season. I think their early start, or their hot start early on rather, was fantastic. I think that gave them an extra cushioning, especially when they did go on that skid. The first, or I think like last week of October, early November, they hadn't won an away game since the game in Montreal at the start of November. So it had been a while since they had seen any road success, which is tough because like you were watching their goaltenders get just like manhandled night after night after night, and it was not an easy thing to watch. And the goaltending was another thing going into this season that everyone was kind of just looking at with question marks and raised eyebrows. Like what was it going to be? And Vladar and Wolf have been solid. And they have been fun to watch. When they're both on, they're on. And Dustin Wolf has been kind of pegged as the future goal, like the franchise goaltender. And that is a lot of pressure, but he is starting out strong. And I fully believe that it will continue this way. But coming up next, we're going to talk about some more highlights and some lowlights of the Calgary Flames season thus far. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. If you love sports, you're going to love PrizePicks, the best place to turn your sports knowledge into real money. Whether it's hockey, football, or any of your favorite sports, PrizePicks makes it easy to get in on the action. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on PrizePicks. Plus, this holiday season, they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Pickmas and offering 2 free picks in December. And when your picks hit, PrizePicks makes it easy to cash out, and you can get your money in as fast as 15 minutes. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly. PrizePicks, run your game. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're following the show wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your Calgary Flames every day. And I know that there has been a lot of mixed emotions around this team this year because they weren't supposed to be this good. Even though this is just kind of like an average hockey team. And they went 8 games without being able to score more than 3 goals in a game, which is bad. That is not good. And I think the expectation of them being a bottom of the barrel team has made this current state of the team more exciting. And it's like the stakes are a lot higher, but I personally think that this team is still the same team that we talked about in the start of the season, except they're able to integrate more youth due to injuries. And I think that is a big deal because that wasn't always the plan. Like, we looked at the lines and, what we thought the lines would look like early on in this season, and it was a veteran heavy lineup, but now it feels like there is a very good mix of both veterans and young players in the forward group. The defensive group needs a little bit of time, I think, but I like what the forward group looks like as of right now for what this team is. This is not a long-term solution by any means, but it gets the job done for this season. Yegor Sharangovich has, like, I just look at him and just see question marks. Like, I feel like question marks are just like flashing off over my head when I watch him play, when he does anything, because it's like he gave all of his offensive production skills to his best friend, Jonathan Huberdeau. And he did start out injured. And he missed a little bit of time, but he has 9 points in 27 games. And that's tough. That is very tough. Especially when you remember that he just signed a 5-year extension. And, this could just be a slow start. This could just be a down year. I mean, anything is possible, especially where he started out injured. Maybe he just needs a little bit of, that extra time that he missed to get going. Or maybe this is just who he is. He is not that top line player, which I don't think anyone necessarily thought he was going to be a staple to your first line after last season. But he's just had some really tough luck finishing, and it's not fun. Like, no one is rooting against him. I think, it's frustrating, and you can absolutely see the frustration in his play. And I think we've seen the same thing from Connor Zary. He has had really tough bad luck when it comes to finishing. He gets like so close, and it doesn't happen. And I think he's been able to get the monkey off his back a bit more recently, and I'm happy with how he's playing. I think seeing him on the score sheet consistently, especially when he's scoring goals, is great. He has split the responsibilities this season pretty much as a winger and a center. We know that he played center growing up and through juniors, so he didn't really get a chance to play center again until late last season. And it worked out pretty great. It worked out pretty well for him. And the Flames didn't have him as a center to start. They had him on several different lines as a winger. And eventually Ryan Huska said, we're going to put you in the middle, put you down the middle. And he's played great. He's had 20 points in 34 games. And I think that what truly benefited him was playing on a line with Kadri and Pospisil last year. More so Kadri than anything, because, you have to have a strong center to, help make your plays. And I'm just very grateful for that time that they got to spend on the same line together, and how much we got to see not only Zary grow, but also Pospisil. And Pospisil has had a tough go of it too. I feel like he started out playing very, very, very physical, and like he needed to prove something, and not in like the Matt Rempe type of prove something, because at least Pospisil can find the back of the net or assist on a goal. But I feel like he needed to kind of cement himself as a staple to this lineup and, not have to worry about being an in-betweener, which I don't think was ever going to happen. But we've also seen this team put veterans on waivers before. Anything is possible. Nothing is guaranteed. And the Flames organization and Ryan Huska make it very clear that your spot is earned, not just given. So with that, we also just need to wrap it up with Kadri, because he is playing fantastic hockey. Him and Huberdeau, man, just absolutely crazy. I did not see them working particularly well as line mates, not because I think there's anything like wrong with either of them. I just thought that maybe Huberdeau was going to be a little too slow for him and just struggle with the offense. But Kadri has 13 goals and 9 assists. Huberdeau is leading the team in points, and then Kadri's right behind him with 22. So the offensive production is there, and that is something a lot of us were very concerned about. But what happens if Connor Zary, Matt Coronado, Kadri, Huberdeau go cold? What happens? That's when you're going to start seeing the likes of a bottom of the barrel NHL team. And that's going to, I hope it doesn't happen, but it's also going to be a stark wake-up call for everyone, including myself. And I don't want that to happen, but I also don't think this team is in a position to put all their eggs in one basket and compete this year. So we'll see where the second half takes us. But coming up next, we're going to talk about Trent Cull being named interim assistant coach after Brad Larsen has to take a longer than anticipated leave of absence for attending to family reasons. And we'll be back after this. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a W, and I love betting on which players will score a touchdown and how many points each team will score. It is thrilling. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're following me on Blue Sky and Twitter at Jess Belmosto. It was announced earlier this month that Brad Larsen would be taking a leave of absence due to family matters, and wishing him nothing but the best. It's always tough to see, especially this time of year. You don't want any of that. It's unfortunate, and sending nothing but well wishes and love to his family during this time. It was announced Sunday night that Trent Cull was going to be taking over the interim position as assistant coach, which is great. I really like that. When I saw that press release, I was like, all right, nodding along, and like I see the vision. I see it. And I think that it makes a lot of sense. For those of you who aren't aware, Trent Cull is the head coach of the Calgary Wranglers, who have been dominating the AHL this year. Rory Currens has played phenomenal under Trent Cull, and they have seen the team as a whole has been able to generate more offense and can be consistent about it. And I think that that's going to be great because Cull has worked with a number of these players that are currently on the NHL roster. And that's huge because he has seen the development go from point A to point B. But what's going to happen to get them to point C? What can be adjusted for their success? Or what does this look like if we try this instead? And I think it's just great to get a fresh set of eyes on the group after a little bit, especially someone who is familiar with a good chunk of this roster. And sometimes just a new, what's the word? A new mind come into the equation can be really helpful. And I think that this maximizes the Flames' opportunity for success as well. And you might not see it immediately. However, you might be seeing, you know, you might see it pay off down the road a little bit because they're working on different techniques or trying a different play or maybe running a different system for, something else, and just trying. Change isn't always a bad thing. Obviously, wish nothing but the best for Brad Larsen. Obviously, family is the number one priority. And the Flames will obviously still be here when he's ready to return. But right now they still have to worry about what's going on for the rest of the season. I think having a coach that is familiar with the AHL kids is super helpful because, Ryan Huska was very familiar with Rasmus Anderson, Mangiapane, and some of the other players that came up through the Flame system, and was able to kind of integrate them a little bit better, or a little bit more, I guess you would say. But when he was with the AHL, and then he obviously came up and was running the Flames, I believe the defensive systems for a bit before switching over. But, you have to get creative. And sometimes you need a fresh set of eyes. It's like when you're looking for something for so long that you can't find it, right? And you have looked everywhere, but everything is starting to kind of blend in and kind of look the same. And you're just like, this is it. This is all I've got. And then your mom comes in and helps you find your belt, and magically it's under your bed and you just couldn't see it before. So it's not always a bad thing. And I think that this is a testament to Cull's hard work and the effort he has put into the Wranglers organization. And, Mitch Love, obviously, he went to Washington after after the Wranglers had one heck of an inaugural season in Calgary. And, he was passed over for Ryan Huska for the head coaching position, and he headed east. And he's still with Washington, I believe, and Washington is doing all right after questionable end to last season and just kind of them getting older. But it's great to see people's hard work being rewarded. I'm curious to see what this means for the Flames power play. Could we see something change? If it's not broke, don't fix it sort of situation. But also, what is he going to bring to the table? And that could really benefit the team, because I fully believe that is a possibility. But that'll do it for me today on this Monday edition of Locked On Flames. Thank you all so much for tuning in and making Locked On Flames part of your day. You can find me wherever you get your podcasts as well as YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. Your Calgary Flames every day. Just search Locked On wherever you get your podcasts. And I will be back tomorrow. I think we're going to do some New Year's resolutions for the Flames. But until then, stay safe, stay warm, stay dry, stay cool, stay hydrated, and remember to be kind.